The scream came before the blow, sharp and raw, tearing through the metal chamber as the human was dragged across the floor, her knees scraping, her breath breaking, and when the alien hand grabbed her shoulder and forced her down, she turned her head, blood already on her lips, and said the words that made the room hesitate for half a second. "If you touch my body, I'll kill you." And that pause, that single breath of silence, was enough to show how broken she already was, because no one who was safe ever needed to say such a thing out loud. Her name was Alara Voss, though no one in the chamber cared, and once she had been nothing more than a quiet technician on a forgotten human mining world, a place of dust storms and long nights, where people learned to survive without hope. And she had survived there too, unnoticed, unwanted, invisible, until the night the sky burned and alien ships fell like black stars. The colony defenses failed in minutes, the soldiers ran, the leaders hid, and Alara watched from a maintenance tunnel as neighbors were taken, as children screamed, as promises meant nothing against weapons. And when she tried to help a wounded guard, he shoved her away and locked the hatch behind him, leaving her outside to be captured. And in that moment something inside her learned a lesson she never wanted, that being human did not mean being protected. The Varkesh Empire took her with thousands of others, sorted them like tools, and when Alara resisted, when she bit and kicked and screamed, they broke her ribs and laughed, because pain was how they taught order. And when she went silent, they decided she was learning. She was passed from ship to ship, tested, scanned, injected, always touched without permission, always handled like an object, until her mind learned to leave her body during those moments, to float somewhere cold and far, because staying present hurt too much. By the time she was brought to the research vessel, she was thin, shaking, and tired in a way sleep could not fix. And the guards thought she was empty, harmless, finished, which was why they laughed when she spoke again, when she warned them, because they believed fear was the only language humans had left. High Examiner Kor watched her from across the chamber, tall and still, his many eyes reflecting the blue glow of the room floor. And he felt something he did not like, not fear, but uncertainty, because Alara did not look at him with hatred or begging. She looked at him like someone already dead, and dead things were unpredictable. Kor had studied humans for years, their weakness, their emotions, their strange need for closeness, and he believed he understood them, believed that touch was control, that breaking the body broke the will, and Alara was proof of success. A human who barely reacted when shocked, who barely cried when cut, who only whispered threats, like a child telling a story, to feel brave. He ordered the guards to restrain her fully, to begin the bond exposure test, because the Empire had found traces of something impossible in recent battles. Human soldiers who survived fatal wounds. Humans who destroyed armored units with bare hands after watching others die. And the pattern pointed to trauma, to loss. 2 moments where something awakened, and Kor wanted that weapon. The first probe touched Alara's spine and pain exploded white and hot, ripping her out of numbness, dragging her back into her body, and she screamed again, not because she was weak, but because pain demanded a voice, and the scream echoed through memories she had buried. The tunnel, the locked hatch, the burning sky, and her warning became a promise she made to herself, that if she survived this, she would never be silent again. They brought another subject into the room, a small alien captive from a conquered world, shackled and shaking, and Kor ordered Alara to touch him, to establish contact, because humans bonded easily, because empathy was exploitable, and Alara's heart twisted at the sight of him, because his fear felt familiar, because he looked at her not as a monster, but as someone who might understand. Her hand trembled as she reached out, every instinct screaming that touch meant pain. But, when her fingers brushed his skin, something inside her shifted, not violently, but gently, like a door opening in a dark house, and suddenly she felt his terror, his loneliness, his longing to go home. And her own pain answered it, not by growing, but by changing. The runes on the floor pulsed, the guards stiffened. Cor leaned forward. Elara gasped as warmth spread through her chest. Not pleasure, not power, but connection. And for the first time since the colony fell, she did not feel alone inside her body. When a guard tried to pull her hand away, she reacted without thinking, not striking, not attacking, but holding on, refusing to let go. And the rune light flared, throwing the guard back, cracking armor, bending metal, and the room erupted in alarms and shouting. Cor shouted orders, fury replacing calm, and Elara felt the warmth grow hotter, sharper, dangerous. And she realized, with sudden clarity, that whatever this was, it fed on intent, on choice, and she was standing at the edge of something that could consume her or save others. The guards rushed her, weapons raised, and she felt fear spike, real and deep, because her body was still weak, still injured, still human. And the first strike cut her shoulder open, blood soaking her sleeve, pain threatening to drag her under again. But the captive alien caught her arm to steady her, and that simple act, that supportive touch, sent a surge through her like fire through dry grass. The rune circle expanded, lines racing across the floor, walls, ceiling, and Elara screamed again. But this time the scream carried defiance, not despair, and the guards were thrown back, as if hit by a wave. Cor advanced anyway, blade humming with energy, convinced that dominance could still win, that fear could still be forced, and he told Elara she was property, that her body belonged to the Empire now, and the words struck deeper than the blade ever could, because they echoed every betrayal she had survived. She looked at him, bloodied, shaking, and spoke softly. No one owns a living body, and when Cor struck, she did not dodge, because she knew pain, knew its limits. And she grabbed his wrist as the blade cut into her, and in that moment the warmth became light. The light became force, and the pact awakened fully. It was old, older than empires, born from humans who had once faced extinction and chosen a different path. A bond that answered violation with resistance, control with collapse, and it flowed through Elara, not because she hated Cor, but because she refused him. The energy surged into his armor, shattered his weapon, and hurled him across the chamber, broken and screaming, and Elara collapsed to her knees, vision fading, strength bleeding out with her blood. Around her, doors unlocked, chains fell, collars died, and prisoners poured into the halls, chaos blooming into freedom, because the bond did not stop with her. It spread through connection, through shared suffering, through the simple act of reaching for another instead of stepping away. Elara felt hands lift her, felt voices calling out, human and alien together, and she laughed weakly through tears, because for the first time, survival did not feel like a curse. As the stolen ship tore free from the dying research vessel and stars filled the view, Elara lay on the deck, barely conscious, the alien captive holding her hand, and she realized the truth hidden in her warning, that it was never about killing, never about revenge, but about drawing a line, about saying that even in a cruel universe, there were boundaries that mattered, that humanity was not defined by how much it could endure, but by what it chose to protect. And as darkness took her, she believed, truly believed, that this time no one was left behind.